Class number 15, week number 8. If you're doing 2 classes a week, doing an excellent job. Now we're going to start to introduce, we're going to give the students a little bit of a break from the kicking dynamic, right? We're going to start to introduce some additional stepping dynamic. What I mean by that, again, we're going to focus on not just a straight line forward or back, but we're going to start looking at the possibilities that come on a diagonal angle, fighting stance. Okay, so let's review. We had a step backwards. Another possibility, because remember, we're stepping backwards from a technique that's usually coming to our stomach, right? So we also want to move backwards and away. So we're going to step diagonally backward. Go. Very nice. So you can see how he came off the plane and moved that direction. Then I have them step back forward. And when I'm standing, I might even stand behind the student like this, forcing them to go in the other direction. Go. Very nice. This is one way to teach the technique. The second thing I want them to do is skip diagonally. So they're going to skip backwards. So now instead, there's a technique coming to the flank side or the kidney side. They're going to want to move away from that technique and move in this direction. Go. As with all our other steps or other kicks, remember, we're pushing off the front foot, lifting the back foot in the direction that we want to go. So in this case, we're lifting our foot, pointing it in this direction, and landing here. Same idea on the diagonal step. It comes here, pushes here, and comes back here. We're ready to counter. The drill works like this. So first I'll have them practice the skip back, skip, then the step, step, skip, and step. Very nice. Now as you practice this drill, you can do it a number of different ways. You can simply have them skip, reset, or step, step, step. But I like the combination because it really gets them into a place where they're understanding what's happening. They're falling to one side to the other side. This will become more effective as they put it into combinations. So this is the air portion or the instruction portion. Now remember, this comes after the warm-up and everything else we do, and you add this at the beginning of the instructional part so that they can do it during the next series of drills, which we're going to move on to now. Now we're going to put them in combination. So I like to do stepping combinations first so that they can understand the combination. Then we'll add the kicks at a later point. So the most basic thing we do, we step forward. Now sometimes when you step forward, obviously somebody's going to kick to this side of the body, so diagonal skip backwards. That's the meaning of the technique. Now don't just teach them this step. You need to teach them the purpose of what it is. So this is trying to draw somebody in. You're stepping to see if you have an opportunity to kick, or you're trying to just simply see what they're going to do. So you step in. Once you see that they're going to attack, you skip out of the way. More importantly, you skip away from the technique that's coming, and you might follow this with a counter roundhouse kick. Right? But for now, we're just working on the step and the skip. So again, step forward, skip sideways. That's the first drill in the air. Now, we're going to work on the step backwards with the diagonal skip. So we're building. We did our step forward, diagonal. Now we're going to do our step back, diagonal. So he's going to step straight backwards. And then something's coming to his kidney, so he skips to the diagonal. Okay? So we had step forward, diagonal. Now we have step backwards, diagonal. All we did was change the first technique, building a progression. So again, step forward, diagonal. Very nice. Step backwards, diagonal. Okay. Now the way to put this in combination during this phase of the class, you would go step forward, diagonal, step backwards, diagonal. And they're still moving to both sides of the room. So you can see he's moving from one way to the other way, working on different possibilities, but more importantly, we're building the dimensionality of the fighter. They're understanding they can advance forward, they can advance backwards, they can do all different sort of stuff, and now they're blending in the diagonals. So step forward, diagonal. Step backward, diagonal. Step forward, diagonal. Step backwards, diagonal. If you feel a little bit more, you can add a kick at the end of this. Step forward, diagonal kick. Step backward, diagonal kick. Very nice. Now we're ready to move on to the next air kicking techniques. Okay, second set of air drills, did steps, now we're going to do the skip. So all we're doing now is replacing the skip. So instead of a step, we're adding a skip. Skip forward. Skip to the diagonal. Skip backwards. Skip to the diagonal. Okay, so now you can see how this works. All we're doing is teasing them. We're going forward, diagonal, went in, they tried to kick to our kidney, we move out of the way. We went backwards, and we go diagonal. We went back, and they tried to re-attack. And you'll see this in later kicking combinations. One more time. Skip forward, Hey. They try to kick you, diagonal. Hey. Skip backwards, hey. Diagonal. Hey. Working on flank attacks and how to defend, or if you tease somebody with some checks, fakes, and steps, how to defend from that. Once you practice it on this side, of course, we would switch to the other side, but now we're ready for our third set of air kicking drills. Third set of sparring drills. We worked on the skip, the step. Now we're going to work on the step forward with a step backwards. So we're progressing from a skip backwards to a step backwards. So step forward, hey. Step to the diagonal. Hey. Very nice. So you've entered and you've changed your direction. Step forward, hey. Step to the diagonal. Hey. Very nice. Now we're going to do the step backwards and the step to the diagonal. Step backwards. Hey. Somebody comes to the stomach. Hey. Very nice. Step backwards. Hey. Somebody comes to the stomach. Hey. Very nice. So again, we're working on the different things that can happen when you're kicking or stepping. So if you step, somebody kicks to your stomach, you can either step back or skip back, and you can do that on the diagonal. Now, as you're teaching this to the students, I would teach it in these sets. Because they're progressive sets. They start with a certain theme, finish with a certain theme, start with a certain theme, finish with a certain theme. Then they add all the possibilities. So you go skip, skip, step, step, skip, step, step, skip. And then you've covered all the different possibilities. Now we're ready to move on to our next series of drills. Okay, final set, last possibility, right? You can skip forward. Hey. You can step backwards. Hey. You can skip backwards. Hey. You can step backwards. Hey. Okay, all we're doing is adding a different thing in the back. So they're all diagonal back. So we're going skip forward, hey. Diagonal step backwards, hey. Skip backwards, hey. Diagonal step backwards. Hey. Great. Now we've covered 4 different sets of 4 different possibilities, all involving either a skip or a step to the diagonal back, and all involving a skip or a step forward or backwards. Now we're ready to move on to the target drills. Okay, now we're going to take that step and that skip and put them into some combinations. First one's going to be round kick into diagonal step, round kick, which is more or less like pottage. So it looks like this. And that's the kind of energy you want them to have. But again, let's start slow. Round kick, hey. Round kick. Hey. That foot comes down, they push to the diagonal, and round kick. Hey. And you can actually take the target and kind of swing it at them. It serves a purpose. 1, 2, forces them to get out of the way, and then you return, okay? Let the students, though, just practice the drill just like that. Second version of the drill is round kick, step to the diagonal, round kick, avoiding a kick that's coming to your stomach. We have a way that we do this in competition, but for this portion of the drill, we want to practice it with a full step to the diagonal rather than sort of some drawback to the diagonal. So we're going to go round kick, round kick, step to the diagonal, round kick. So you'll notice same potachuggy motion. However, it's done with the step back. So the step is to the diagonal. Okay, let's look at it towards the camera. So the athlete's going to go round kick, skip, round kick. Very nice. Round kick, step to the diagonal, round kick. Now what we're learning here is how to practice from moving away from something that's coming to the flank side and countering, or moving from something that's coming to the stomach side and countering. These drills I would practice in succession. Round kick, skip to the diagonal, round kick, skip to the diagonal. Half the period of time. Then I'd move round kick, step to the diagonal, again for a certain period of time, and then I'd finish with an alternating version of it. Round kick, skip, round kick, step. Now we're ready to move on to the next section of drills. Now, as always, we move from the air to the targets to the partner. So we're going to demonstrate how you do this with a partner. Again, no contact in this one because it's still a new technique, new concept. We want to build belief first. Teach them the method. Second, show them the science. Let them execute it on targets. We're building the confidence. Now, this is the next level of confidence building till they get to a place where they own the technique through execution, either in a sparring drill, sparring in the classroom, or ultimately sparring at a competition. Okay, fighting stance. So now, the athlete's going to execute 2 round kicks. I'm going to kick to the flank side, right? And he's going to move away, do a diagonal step. So he goes round kick, round kick. I execute to the flank, and he counters to the stomach. This is how I would teach it, just like this, not up and down the floor. Again, he goes 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm building the timing on my side, retreat, retreat, counter, right? He's building the attack, attack, and the re-counter. Got it? Good. Let's move on to the next one. Now we're going to have round kick, round kick. I'm going to kick to the stomach side, and he's going to counter to the body. So now all that I have to remember as the defender is my first one is to the flank or the kidney. My second is to the stomach. Now, it doesn't matter where I end up, but for the most part, I'm going to let them go from open stance, round kick, round kick, right? And I'm staying on this side. My rear leg is going to go to his stomach, forcing him to go back and to counter. We have 2 different sets of reaction drills and then 2 different sets of attacking drills. Now we're ready to move on to a little bit of a review from the first section, and then we're going to move on to our conclusion. Okay, in review, this class was structured just a little bit differently. Listen, structured the same way. We do the open, we do everything, we do the air kicking. Difference was we focused on steps. We used a portion of the steps in the class. We combined some steps from the first classes, but we were really focusing on 2 things, the diagonal and then the diagonal step back. Diagonal skip, diagonal step. We added some basic kicking, some basic concepts so that they could understand how it works. Now, even though a class may be basic, it doesn't mean it's not difficult. We're doing basic skills and we want to refocus them on what matters. So when you're doing a stepping class, the step is very important. It's very subtle, but very important. Focus on the pushing of the foot in the direction opposite of where you're going. So if you're going backwards, you're going to push off the front foot. If you're going forwards, you're going to push off the rear foot. If you're going to a diagonal, you must push in the opposite direction. So if I want to go here, I've got to move this foot here. I have to push in this direction. If I want to go here, I've got to push, lift, and point. Teach those concepts in this class, and then you will be successful as we move into our next class. Now this class, again, focused on steps. So it's a little bit different, but keep them focused on the intricacies of it and not on the big thing. Everybody loves to spin and jump and do big kicking techniques, but at the end of the day, it's the small things that happen on the floor, the stepping, the creation of distance, that will ultimately yield better successes in the ring. Now let's move on to our next class. Class number 16. If you're doing 2 a week, okay, we're back. This is month number 2. We're at the end of month number 2. Now in the training sessions is about where I'd like to do some review. So I'm going to add a couple of techniques from this DVD. I'm going to go back and review 1 or 2 concepts, but more importantly, I'm going to put together a different level of technique. I want them thinking a little bit, but I also don't want to bore them by doing progressions every class to the point where they know what's coming next. So we're going to take a couple of different techniques and put them together. First, we're going to do cut kick, Notabon. Good. We're going to do this in the air. So again, we'll start slowly. Have them do the cut, come down. Let them spin on the floor, Notabon. Gradually build that one up to the air. You can do this a number of different ways in your room. You can go cut, kick, Notabon. They turn and face this way, cut, kick, Notabon. As always, we're going to go push kick, Notabon. Same thing here, push kick, into Notabon. Very nice. Now, we're going to move on to a new idea, taking something from an old class, up ball, Notabon. A little bit different. You're going to stop your opponent with the technique. You go up ball, he stops, and you spin and you Notabon. Very effective, high risk technique, depending upon who you're fighting, but if you use it well, even if you miss, it'll stop your opponent. Whoa! Right, you change the way the technique comes up. Now we're going to go to something just a little bit different, adding the diagonal skip back. Fast kick. Diagonal skip.
Back.
Very basic technique, but it works in this situation. So, fast kick, skip, and round kick. Very nice. Works nice in combination with the up ball into Naraban. So as we're doing the drills, as always, we're going to do them one after the other. So you'll do cut kick into Naraban, push kick into Naraban, up ball into Naraban. We've completed that idea. Then fast kick, which rides off the Naraban into a counter roundhouse kick. Very basic, not very complex. But again, this is going to be the theme for 16. We want to break it up for a little bit, let them have a little bit of fun, a little bit of excitement. Now, after the warm-up, after the air kicking, it's time to go on to our next series of drills. Now, as always, back to the targets. About 2 months in, we have some targets, we have shields. Going to introduce the Wave Master soon. Then we're going to introduce the body drills, trying to help them get to a place where they can get all the different aspects. We don't want to bore them with the same drills over and over again or the same format. We do want to bore them with the progressions. And that's not boring. What we're doing is educating them in the methodology of the Torch program, which will help them become better fighters, whether they realize it or not. With that said, now we're going to go into cut kick into Naraban. So I'm going to hold the target again, let him cut kick, Naraban. And again, holding the technique, moving backwards, letting him travel a little bit. In this one, I choose to hold it like this just to give him the feel of the target, right? Cut kick, Naraban. Good. Keep the weight forward. They go all the way down the floor, all the way back. We then follow that with push kick, Naraban. Again, push kick, Naraban. Now we've done both of those techniques, and again, equal amount of time. Check the manual for the suggestion of how long, and then we move on to the third technique. We're going to have up ball, Naraban. Now this one can be done in place or as an attack. So if we do the front leg up ball, I draw back, he comes in. Front leg, I don't move, he switches back slightly. So as he's doing it, this foot comes back and comes up. Let's watch that one more time. A little bit more of an advanced technique, but really for your advanced students. So I like the one where we travel forward. Let them do the one that they're comfortable with for now. Later classes, we'll get into what that means. So again, up ball into Naraban. Very nice. Followed with a basic theme now. Fast kick into diagonal step, round kick. So if I were practicing this by itself, it would be fast kick. I'm not traveling much, but he's traveling. I want him to travel. I want him to attack, retreat, attack, retreat, attack, retreat, because he's working on his footwork. He's also understanding what the technique is doing. He's attacking, I'm coming in, he's moving out of the way, countering, re-attacking, and this actually happens during competition. Now, building this drill, I would build each one separately. Cut kick into Naraban. Then I would follow it with push kick into Naraban. Then I'd move into up ball into Naraban, followed finally with the simple one, fast kick, diagonal step, roundhouse kick. Then I would put 2 or 3 of them together. So for example, I would go cut kick, Naraban, push kick, Naraban. Those two fit well together. It's just changing the front leg. Then I would do up ball, Naraban, right? Fast kick, diagonal step. 2 excellent combinations to put together. Same theme, different motion, different directions, different ideas. And they work similarly, progressing from each other. You could build one last progression. That would be up ball, Naraban, cut kick, Naraban. Different direction on the kick, different depth, and then you could, of course, follow that, push kick, Naraban. That's it for this portion of the targets. A lot of different things you can do, a lot of different ideas, but keep it simple. One after the other, and then build the other 2 progressions if you'd like, and then finally the third progression, and then we'll move on now to the partner drills. As always, let's go back to some partner drills. After this one, we do a lot of sparring drills and contact drills, but this one, we're going to let it still be a partner drill in the air. One person matching the motion, the other person doing the drill. Again, I'm going to ride his technique. I'm going to move defensively in different ways, trying to build an understanding of where I want to be when somebody throws these techniques. So, first technique is cut kick, Naraban. I simply move out of the way, and then I would re-enter with my version of it. Push kick, Naraban. Again, moving out of the way, trying to build an understanding of where he's going, what he's doing. Finally, I'm going to check, give him the opportunity to up ball, and move out of the way from Naraban for that version. And then lastly, he's going to fast kick. I'm going to move for the counter and retrieve and accept his kick. So, let's review one more time. Cut kick, Naraban. Push kick, Naraban. My up ball, Naraban. Very nice. Finally, fast kick and accepting. Now, again, this portion of the drill, you're going to tailor make to your class, but at least 5 minutes, if not 10 minutes, if you have a 40-minute class. Let them move, no contact at this point. Just let them become comfortable with the steps. Let them experiment with the pushes back. Let them experiment with the diagonal motion. And let them start to understand where they need to be when Narabans are coming and how to ride a cut kick or a push kick.